Good evening, Internet! You are watching the Non-Pro TV Party Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recap show! I am your host, Greg, joined down the in studio by Red and Air! James, Matt, and AJ. How you guys doing?
Hello.
Woo! Woo! Assuming moves all around. Hooray! On Non-Pro's TV Party, we do a live Google Plus Hangout series where we geek out about our favorite television shows and invite you all to join along. We're not just recapping TV, we've spent too much time in front of it. In this episode, we're going to be reviewing Agent Carter's latest episode. All right, this is a minute. We're doing it in the Iron Ceiling. Carter reunites with the Howling Commandos to infiltrate the nefarious Soviet plot known as Leviathan. Woohoo! Guys, I'm pretty excited about this episode. And you guys are not. You are stoic and silent. All right, what do you guys feel? Yeah, you excited about it?
I really liked it.
Cool, cool. Yes, so this episode is great for a couple big reasons.
I loved this episode.
Cool. It's good for a couple big reasons. One is the Howling Commandos have returned.
Woo!
We haven't seen them in a while. Obviously, the Captain America movie, but also in a few walk-on cameo parts in various Marvel TV shows. And I think it's also cool for the like the head nod of Leviathan, which we'll get to in a second, and also the Red Room. We'll leave it at that until we go into the juicy details. It's been a while since we've seen Agent Carter. We're back into the swing of things. Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. AJ, would you like to share with the class? Is there something going on with the camera for you?
James' profile picture changed to him with a snowman, but I thought it was fantastic. Just like the episode, which is really fantastic. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Good segue. We got to give him props just for getting back onto track. I mean, that was really, really amateurish stuff, but he found a way to go back in. That was cool. All right. So do you guys have any idea of what Leviathan is that came up pretty early on in the episode? You guys know what Leviathan is?
Oh, I can tell it's some kind of secret organization.
So here's the basic details. And I'll admit, like, I did not know this before, like, doing a little bit of research. Not for this episode, but, like, somewhat recently in Near Mint, the comic review show. So if the Allies had S.H.I.E.L.D., specifically if America had S.H.I.E.L.D., and the Nazis had Hydra, Leviathan is the Soviet equivalent, which is awesome because I hadn't really even considered it. For me, it's always been, Hydra versus S.H.I.E.L.D., and this is cool that they're actually, instead of just rehashing the Hydra thing, which they actually went on record saying they're not going to do too much, they actually went into the Soviets, which would be perfect. Post-World War II, makes perfect sense. I love this. It's great.
So it makes you wonder whether or not Leviathan is still around today.
Oh, you mean like there's in the modern continuity? I think there probably is.
If he'll come into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at all.
Yeah, I mean, we hope so in some way, and we don't know what the next Captain America movie is going to detail exactly. So we could see some of the Leviathan agents. I guess arguably Bucky, the Winter Soldier, spoiler alert, might actually can be considered a Leviathan agent. I'm not really sure about the details.
And he worked with the Black Widow project, right? Which this episode had some connections to, if I remember correctly.
The episode begins with those girls in this Soviet academy learning to be complete badasses. So this is the Red Room. This is where they train Black Widows. And again, awesome for me. So one of the big awesome things about it being in a franchise is the interconnectivity of everything, right? You get like characters moving in from one way and the other, but like Hawkeye, as far as I'm concerned, Hawkeye, Black Widow, the other Avengers from the Avengers movies really have almost no hand in the Avenger storyline. They're just these good agents. You know, Black Widow shows up, I think, in. Do you remember Was it Iron Man 2?
She first showed up, I think, in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, and Hawkeye I think shows up in Thor, maybe the original.
Yeah, showed up with the first Thor. Yeah.
They just show up. They're just like good agents. That's all their thing is.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they're not like season 1 of Shield. They delved a lot into Thor in Thor's sort of mythos, but like they don't have to just focus on the big heavy hitters. Thor has his movie. Iron Man has a movie, or a movie franchise even. Black Widow hasn't gotten a movie franchise. She appears in a couple of movies. The fact that they used Carter to like flesh out the Black Widow project is amazing. I really like it. That was I think that was my highlight of the entire episode.
I think.
Yeah.
I think the thing I like most is just I think just the whole episode's character development was great. I know we talked about Agent Murray and all them, and the kind of character development we talked about that was foreshadowed in the last episode. I think this episode gets it. I loved the talk of his Navy medal and the fact that
Thompson, yeah.
Thompson, I'm sorry, Agent Thompson. The talk of his Navy medal and then tying it all up together at the end with the fact that, he didn't realize that the guys are so easy to shoot was because they were coming to surrender, and the fact that he
buried the flag. Yeah, it was not a mistake. Yeah. I mean, it was a mistake when he did it, but like he furthered his own crime. I mean, his arc, he went from douchebag in the beginning of the episode to like monster. I don't know. Like it was really bad.
I don't know. I think for me, it spoke sympathy. You know what I mean? Like he reacted like on a gut instinct. These are enemies in my camp. Bam, bam, bam. Like I don't think I could have reacted any differently. And then burying his crime, but like I feel like that is so common in war. Like that's a really common thing. We reward people for killing and doing these terrible things. And even before we knew the truth of the story, hearing him recount it as his war story, the way it was recounted, the music that lied underneath it, like I could just tell that this was sad. This was not something he felt good about. And I'm wondering why. Like I feel like, well, he should be boasting about killing Japanese. This is World War II. That was what you did.
It was
so I thought that was my thing.
I feel like when he recounted the story originally, right, in that campfire scene with the Howling Commandos, he says he was asleep on the switch. He was basically sleeping through night watch, and then he shot some of them in the back, or he shot the first guy in the back. And I'm like, okay, that's the dirty side of this story. That's why he's maybe less than proud to recount it, because he failed in a way. He just got lucky that he managed that no one didn't end up dying. And I really did think that was all they were going to do, but it's really, really pretty powerful storytelling that they, at the end of the episode, they reimagined it again, but even worse. I don't think he's super forgivable for concealing his mistake. I think that's what turns it into a crime. It's a mistake that becomes a crime when you bury the white flag, conceal the evidence of it. But the fact that you and I disagree about that is awesome. I mean, I would not have expected that from a comic book TV show, or almost any TV show nowadays.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's great storytelling, and I think it takes it a step beyond, to expect us to relate or not to relate to this character, and not having the other characters in the show pass judgment on him for it. Like Carter defends him and doesn't bring it up. Like it's clearly not going to be a thing. That is something we as the audience have to pass silent judgment on.
Right. Matt, you were about to say something in the beginning, so let's try to take turns that way. Do you have anything you want to throw in?
Actually, James was going to pretty much said everything I wanted to say about Thompson's story arc. I thought it was fantastic. But if we can move on to a different part of the episode that I enjoyed, I think, or sort of kind of backtracking to the whole entire Red Room stuff, I really liked what they did about fleshing out Dottie's backstory. Even through not much dialogue on her part, but just her, just the flashbacks to her training, and to her kind of like sneaking into Carter's room and looking around and just seeing how she is kind of, this program has made her a killer, but also extremely disturbed,
Competent.
it's messed up.
Right.
Yeah, like when
Yeah.
she was like pretending to be Carter in the mirror. Am I the only one who was freaked out by that?
No, that was very creepy. The whole smelling the lipstick thing. Is the lipstick like poisoned? Am I?
The lipstick was like had like a whole entire like sleeping agent in it.
Okay,
so she probably smelled it out.
Yeah. Okay, because that was.
Yeah, I think it says like a kiss goodnight or something on it.
I pieced it together with context
And
clues,
she's
but I wasn't
on
sure.
the cover on her.
Oh, all right. As for like Matt said, the storytelling in how they gave her Dottie's background was great.
I
So,
mean,
like,
even the most
bread-
chilling part was at like the very end when you find when she goes to sleep, she still handcuffs herself to the bed.
Yeah.
That is so ingrained in her. Like that's the only way that she can sleep is by chaining herself.
Creepy.
It was. I mean, it kind of makes her sort of sympathetic, even though she's obviously antagonist. Like this program has really screwed with her mind, and like she is pretty much like just molded into a weapon. Period. She's like not even she can't really even consider much of a person anymore. She's just a tool.
But I like how like so much of her motive and so much of her existence is just flushed out so completely with no dialogue. Like we know obviously she's there to find out what Peggy Carter's doing and possibly even off her and assume her role at the SSR gathering more intelligence indefinitely.
Mhm.
Like she can do her voice very well, and I'm sure she can do makeup. I'm sure she can do whatever she needs to, and she's more than willing to. Like if Peggy was still there.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Done?
No.
We should do this like the new Google Plus is we have to say over after we're done. Over. Yeah, all right. But yeah,
Over.
I mean, and I especially like the bread sharing scene because I like visual storytelling that links characters. Like there wasn't like yeah, she looked like the younger actress who played her, but also there was like visual cues for us, the audience, to be like, that's the same person. Look at that.
It actually kind of puts things in a previous scene in a lot more context when she asks during breakfast, I think it was the previous episode, where he asked, oh, can I have a compartment where I could store food?
Yeah, it links it up to the previous episode where she stole the food, and then right afterwards when she's at breakfast with Peggy, and she splits the bread and hands off a piece to her. It's like an interesting tell that she has.
So is it just me? And I feel like I missed this, and it's something I thought back to. I feel like they lingered on a shot of her wrist for a second and showed some bruising around it, and then at the end of the episode we see her do the handcuff. But am I imagining that? I don't know if you guys remember that. I feel like there was that, but Peggy was too distracted by Jarvis's business card.
What do you? No, I think that the business card thing was just part of that whole thing was taking the keys. And you could see her palm the keys. She actually does. Like Dottie actually does palm the keys when she grabs the stuff for Peggy's purse. I don't remember anything about the cuffs in that scene though.
I feel like
I might just be imagining it then.
I feel like the clues are definitely there for Peggy to pick up on, but she's obviously too distracted by a lot of the events that are happening in her life to pick up on them. I feel like the fact that she's staring at Jarvis's name and number and like his card, while these tells are clearly on the table in front of her, that she could be picking up on. I feel like that's part of the reason why, like, Peggy is such a competent person. They're giving us reasons why the girl next door is pulling one over on her. Quite literally.
Yeah. And you gotta say, I mean, if they're both master spies, I could do a little bit of forgiving of her missing some of these like more obvious clues that are directed at the audience. So I don't really have an order to go through these. I just want to start bulleting off awesome things. If you have more intelligent things you want to say, feel free to interrupt. The one that's a little bit more coherent is Sousa identifying Peggy as the mysterious blonde. How does he do it? He sees the 2 bullet wounds, the scars on her back, and ties it in with the scars you could see when she's wearing the cocktail dress. I feel like that's such a like cool little nod to Carter's like badassery. You know, it's her battle wounds that give her away. It's her scars, as opposed to like breaking a heel or losing a slipper and it fits on her foot. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Although I would love to see a Cinderella story where he identifies Cinderella based on like, well, you had that scar going across your temple, and you reeked of the blood of your enemies. Come on, Hollywood, do it.
Cinderella Vikings.
That's right. Kristen Stewart will play Cinderella. I like Snow White and the Huntsman, so I'm not. I'm just saying. You shut your mouth. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was cool. John Glover, he has a walk-on role in this episode as I guess he was a reporter, the one who was drinking with the captain. I love John Glover. Nothing else to say that I love other than I love him. And the fact that Dugan was going to toss a grenade after that little girl.
Kill the kid.
So good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Dugan.
She's in the vent. Let's
toss that grenade in there.
I was gonna say it's probably because Carter stopped him. Like indirectly, she got the SSR agent killed because that same girl popped out of the vent later and shot the SSR agent.
True. Well, I would say that I'm pretty sure she got away with it. If anything, let's give Carter the benefit of the doubt, and that grenade tossed maybe 30 seconds after the girl who was like super ninja escaped would have just alerted more people about their presence.
Yeah.
So I'll give her a pass on that one. I think I do like the line at the end where she jumps into the truck and that one Russian scientist says "not bad for a girl" and she smiles and says "I hate you all." That was just adorable. I love that. It was really cool.
Agreed.
My one takeaway, which honestly I did not find on my own, somebody pointed this out to me, somebody I was chatting with while I was watching, was that Peggy has a picture of Steve in her room, which, you know, Dottie picks up and looks at and stuff, but specifically it's wimpy Steve. It's like,
yeah, it's pre-Captain America Steve.
Yeah, and that's really cute.
I thought that too. I thought that was really because it means it's that kind of idea that she likes Steve Rogers for who he is personally. It's not that he's like this big hero. It's his heart.
Right.
Is it the Steve? Is it actually the picture from his file? If you look at the file when she was looking at it earlier in the series from his file in the SSR, is it actually that picture? Did she take that home and frame it?
I think so. It's actually I think it was one from the like his boot camp picture, which I'm pretty sure she had it earlier in the series and maybe in the movie as well. I'm not sure.
To me, it looks like a freeze frame from the actual movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I think it's supposed to be
the actual movie, but
I think it's supposed to.
It's supposed to be a picture.
Yeah.
So a couple of things I'll admit not knowing anything about. I do not know anything about this Dr. Ivanchenko, or the person he was a psychiatrist for. I can't remember the character's name, but the savant maybe or verdant it was what they referred to him. The person who was reverse engineering Tony's plans, not Tony, sorry, other Stark, Stark's plans. I also don't really know anything about the reactor that they're supposed to be building. That's what the Leviathan was looking for. So somebody might be more knowledgeable in comic book history than I do, but I'm actually okay with not knowing these things. I feel like a good amount of fun comes in exploring them as they come up. I like it when I know something that's happening. I'm not like saying there's one true answer here. I do like it when I'm like, I know who that is, but I also kind of like finding out who someone is.
I just kind of feel like the reactor they're building, all these weapons they've gone after have all mostly been MacGuffins. That they're just unobtainiums that they've been going after repeatedly throughout the series as a way to flesh out character development.
Well, that's
I'm okay with.
True. Yeah, that is absolutely true, and that could be true of like every Marvel movie we've seen so far. It could be like, the Cosmic Cube, the Everything, really. Everything is just a MacGuffin.
And I feel like if they used established things in the Marvel Universe, then I would kind of give away the end of the story. Not that they've really been going word for word with the way the stories were written, but I kind of feel like everyone would have a theory immediately if they knew what the things they were going after were.
I guess so, but if they are MacGuffins, I think that's one of the reasons why we can enjoy these so much, even arguably knowing where they're going, is that if they're MacGuffins, it doesn't matter. Like, we don't really, because nobody cares about what happens with the big cosmic whatever. They care about whether or not these two characters are going to kiss. Well, effectively. Yeah.
I want her to kiss Jarvis so much.
I don't know. Jarvis and the Missus. I want to see. That's going to be intense. There's somebody laughing in the background.
For me, I think I can't imagine, and maybe this is me just oversimplifying it, but I feel like, we know that Howard Stark already had versions of the arc reactor. Like, that's what Tony used to build it. So, and with Ivo and all that type of stuff, I mean, maybe they just won't overcomplicate it for the movie universe. Maybe they're trying to build version 1 of the arc reactor, and
that seems reasonable.
Peggy and obviously them are going to stop it,
I think that's certainly reasonable. It could also be tied in something to do with Whiplash, which was a character who just, like, it was Iron Man 2. I mean, I was like, oh, all right, yeah, good. You have things.
Bring some legitimacy to that movie.
No. I don't hate the movie. I just, like, the character could not have. I don't even hate the character. It was just what it was. I am very excited about Leviathan, and I love, like I led with, Black Widow. Am I wrong? You guys, I think you guys agree with me. Like, it's just that I don't want to, like, start a fight, an internet fight. But Black Widow, Hawkeye, they could have been anybody. They could have been interchanged with any other characters and have brought nothing else into the franchise or the reality of the show. It could have been anybody. But now you're kind of making their backstories, or at least Black Widow's backstories, more essential.
I think that would definitely be true. For Hawkeye, definitely yes. He was pretty much just a guy, and he had one cool scene in Thor where he looked at the rifle and said "nah" and then grabbed the bow. From Black Widow, she was just kind of like there for Iron Man 2, which I guess you needed a spy for Iron Man 2, but it could have been really wasn't anything super specific. Black Widow, Avengers, she was kind of more of a point, but I don't think she really had much of an important.
I did like
until Captain America 2, where I think you really actually started getting actual character out of her. And so I think I'm gonna agree with you, Frank, that, like, I'm really glad they're actually starting to get into these backstories. And maybe one day we'll visit a circus where we see this young kid, Clint Barton, doing trick shots.
Poor Jeremy Renner's like, I matter too. No.
I mean, I agree and I disagree. I think I agree and I agree. I definitely think they need to be made more relevant. I do think they're totally standby characters. But I also think that they've been trying to build them up before. And I also kind of disagree with this episode. I feel like the only reason I knew it was the Black Widow project and not some other, unless I missed something, and you guys can tell me if I missed something, is because we talked about it last week that it was going to be the Black Widow project.
I can't answer.
Otherwise...
And I will.
Otherwise, to me...
Damn it! Shut up, I will anyways. I agree with what you're saying completely, but keep in mind, what I'm saying is not so much that, like, oh, this develops Black Widow more as a character at all. You're right. It's much more interesting to see her talking with Hawkeye about her like, the red in her ledger. But give, like, in the same way that Thor's magical universe doesn't really help develop him as a character, it's still kind of like more to the universe. He gave something to the universe that makes him feel more important.
Right. Yeah.
It's cool that Black Widow and her backstory is giving more to the universe, making her seem more important. Otherwise,
okay, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we agree. Okay, AJ, you may have cut yourself off a couple of times. Anything to add?
I cut myself off all the time, bro.
All right, so
but yeah, I really was just gonna say what James had to say. I mean, he just said it well.
Oh, good. So I shut you both up. Bam.
Damn right you did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I did really.
Darn it, Frank.
I really don't think I did. I don't want to. let's go back to the videotape. All right. Yeah. So that's our show for this week. I'm excited for the next episode. I don't remember there being any like teasers for what the next episode's about, but that's probably because I've been drinking. Anybody else remember?
I mean, they might have done something after the airing of it, but I don't watch it on air live, so I wouldn't know. So
yeah.
I haven't seen anything else otherwise, so maybe they didn't show anything. I don't know.
But we do know that it's like uninterrupted. I mean, well, the next episode will be on Tuesday, so watch it live, or at least
we only have 3 episodes left, guys. This is the home stretch.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you guys for joining us on our Hangout. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to make it better for the internet. That's the end of this episode. On that. That's right. All right. Thank you all for there. YouTube.com/NonProductive. Full sentences. Oh yeah, Walking Dead. Watch that. We're gonna live chat it on the Facebook page.